Hello guys, it is Fog, and we are here on the National Pokeball League channel with a coach interview, and today we have Trev the King, who is the coach of the Braviarys. So we'll leave the floor to him to introduce himself.
Yeah, as he said, I am Trev the King, also known on YouTube as Trevenant Forest, and I am the coach of the Atlanta Braviarys. And I am happy to be here to interview with you, Falk.
Well, I'm glad to have a great player like yourself here. So let's start off with something simple. I'd like you to, explain your draft because we did redraft everything, so it's completely new. So why don't you just give us a quick little rundown of what you have and what each Pokemon is trying to accomplish on your team.
Okay. Well, when I started this draft, I had the draft in mind to go for Victini as my franchise mon. So for my Mega slot, I wanted to get a spinner, at least for this year, as my Mega slot to kind of protect Victini. And Blastoise was that Mega that provided me spin as well as being able to destroy all those spin blockers with a Mega Launcher boosted Dark Pulse. And then, it's bulky enough. It can run various sets, like offensive, defensive. Could even run, like, if you want to pick off something, Aqua Jet. So that's always nice. But Mega wasn't really in mind this year, so that's why I kind of just went with a generic Mega like Mega Blastoise. The pick I'm really proud of is my Victini pick as my franchise mon
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it is one of the most versatile Pokemon in the format, and versatility is what the format is about. Victini can do so many things, and even though it can do all those things, like something like Choice Band of Victini is so powerful. Choice Band of V-Crate is nothing. Nothing wants to switch into that.
Oh, there's like I don't think I can name a single Pokemon off the top of my head that really wants to be
Mm-hmm.
taking those hits.
Yeah, and even if there is something that can switch into V-Crate, something like Heatran or Arcanine, you could always run a special set or possibly even a defensive set with Toxic for those Arcanines. It even gets, while its setup moves are limited, it does get stuff like Power Up Punch or Work Up for if you want to go physical or mixed or special. Next, I was really surprised this was still up here because I picked last in the mid round. I also picked last in the first of the 3 years. So I was really surprised that Kyurem Black was still around. And Kyurem Black is a threat. It's not the fastest mon, and it's not the most specially strong mon, but overall, it's one of the best mons in the format as it's base 170 attack. You don't even have to invest in it, and you don't even need Dragon Stab to hurt things like Fusion Bolt destroys water types, even uninvested. Invested Ice Beam can do a lot of damage. Iron Head for fairies. If you do invest in it, can totally destroy them. If you don't invest in it, it still does. It still probably 2-hit KOs them. Gets cool things like Earth Power for those fire types. You could easily run a Hidden Power on it. You can run Scarfed, Light Forward. You can run a sub roof set, a sub home claw set. So that's really why I liked the idea of Kyurem. And moving on to my next mon, Lando T. Lando T provided me a nice rocker, nice reliable rocker, as well as probably my most reliable Scarfer I have on my team. If I do so choose, it can also set up Source Dance and Rock Polish if I want to go double dance. It does have stab EQ coming off that base 145 attack stat. As well as it gets Stone Edge, which is really nice for those flying types I want to switch in to Earthquake. And it does get Gravity as well, which is really nice for something like Skarmory. They won't know what's coming as they get hit up with that. As before, like I said before, it gets Rocks, which is really nice. Intimidate allows it to take a lot of physical hits, and just overall, it's a very bulky mon with a decent speed stat at base 91, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
definitely really solid. There's a reason it was number one in usage in OU
mm-hmm.
for the period of time it was.
Yeah, and it's uh, just very, very versatile mon. Its typing is very good defensively and offensively. So yeah, that was my pick. And honestly, this next pick was probably the biggest surprise of the draft that it dropped this low, and it was Azumarill. Now, Azumarill was the Season 1 MVP, and again, last year was kind of up there in the MVP standings. But it can it doesn't do a whole lot, but you can sometimes be surprised by its sets. It can run Assault Vest, Banded, Cow. Even last year showed that if you need to outspeed something, you can run Scarf. Not really advised, but if you do need that, you can. You can even run a Trap and Set with Whirlpool Parashon.
And the threat of Belly Drum is just so huge that it's really difficult sometimes to play around, because you don't want to just lose the Belly Drum set, which
and even,
you can put yourself dead to at points.
Mm-hmm. And you can even run something like a Power Bounce or a Natural Gift line to get around some of the grass type counters like a Mungus and make a Venusaur. So I'm really happy with the Azumarill. It also is a very nice Weavile check, which Weavile is kind of rampant in format like this if you do play it. So it's nice to be able to have a nice defensive check like that. Next, I really wanted to have a good defensive core, so that's why I'm going to just say these 3 Mons in succession. I do have Umbreon, Alomomola, and Doublade. That was one of the best defensive cores I could have gotten at that stage in the draft, as those 3 actually do have near perfect synergy, I believe, if not perfect. I don't remember the types, but I think if it's not perfect synergy, there's only like one type that's super effective / neutral against all of them. But, you know, Alomomola is a great Wish Passer. Umbreon is a top cleric, one of the top clerics up there. It gets foul play for those nasty setup sweepers like Zard and other things that want to set up sword stances or DDs. And Doublade can do a lot of things. It can wall a lot of physical threats if you run physically defensive. It can set up SDs. It can even run something like a Rock Slide, no guard Rock Slide for something like a Mega Pinsir, which could be a problem.
I mean, Doublade's just the best Pokemon in Draft League. Like, I don't think we have to talk about it any further.
That's why it's nicknamed Draft Lord.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was my defensive core I wanted to draft. I'm pretty lucky that I got that still decently late in the draft. So for my next pick, I drafted Heliolisk. Fast electric types are pretty good in the format, and Heliolisk is a pretty fast electric type at base 109, outspeeds the Justice trio as well as Keldeo. It does have Stab Hyper Voice, which is nice, and as well as a nice special move pool consistent of Grass Knot, Surf, Hidden Power, Hyper Voice, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. So yeah, Helios is very nice. It was mainly there just for momentum, and I need something that was fast, as my team was kind of slow up to that point. Next, I drafted Aggron. Now, Aggron was there because it gave me another rocker, which I'd only had one rocker, and I didn't want to have to bring Lander's Tea every time I wanted to get rocks up. As well as Aggron. Not a lot wants to really switch into a Choice Banded Head Smash. It can even run Rock Polish 3 attacks. As well as it does get Taunt, so it can use something like a Skarm or anything else that just mainly has support moves as setup fodder. And it does have a very nice move pool, both physically and specially. So that's why I kind of wanted to grab Aggron right there. And finally, my last pick, it was mostly a mascot pick. This could change, but I mean, Braviary did provide me a nice flying type because Landers doesn't really take advantage of its flying type offensively.
Oh, come on, so, you can use Choice Band Fly. I'll look at you there.
Yeah. But but it also gave me another hazard removal, as Mega Blastoise was pressured to be my hazard remover every week. Braviary, at least, while not nearly as prevalent as a hazard removal Mon as Mega Blastoise, does at least give me the option, as well as, even though its special attack isn't that great, it does get things like Heat Wave, Sheer Force to at least deal damage to steel types that would normally wall it, so that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was my draft.
Alright, it's definitely a very solid team. A lot of offensive threats, a good set defensive Mon to build around. So, with your team, how well positioned do you think it is within mainly, I guess, your conference? I would say, as those are the people you'll be playing most often. So how do you feel like your team matches up against the people you'll be playing?
Well, I do feel that my team matches up very well. Unfortunately, my franchise mom, 15, it's kind of walled by stabs of the Chicago Sacred Fire's franchise pick, unless I run like Brick or Focus Blast, as well as at least this year, actually to make a Charizard X takes care of it pretty well. But when it comes to rest of my mons, I think my team is just so powerful and threatening that you can't really wall it. You just kind of have to kind of go with the punches and just throw punch for punch. And I feel like my team has the power to overcome any punches thrown at it, just like it can overcome any like stall thrown at it, which actually kind of has a bit of going on there with the Slowbro, Chansey, Core, which Victini, Kieran Black, Azumarill kind of can break through. And
Yeah,
Stab,
the threat density on your team is definitely very high. So your opponents are gonna have to pick and choose which
yeah,
threats they're gonna have to beat week to
and
week.
and Stab. I think Kieran alone just has the coverage to be able to decimate him. He has to carefully choose what mons he brings. And after Kieran is done, if I let it die or maybe I save it, after Kieran is done having its fun, I feel like my other threats can easily pick off the rest of his mons that Kieran can't handle. And that is my analysis of how I think I will do within my division. I think I can go undefeated in my division, but I will be happy with 3-1.
For sure. Alright, so coming into the season, what do you think is going to be your most difficult challenge? Is there a certain part of your schedule that's a little rough? Is there a team that's going to be tougher to prepare for? Is there like a certain player you don't want to play? Like, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you coming into the season?
When it comes to schedule, definitely in my first 2 weeks, I have to play what I think are the best two teams in the league, as well as it's reflected in most of the power rankings. They're near the top in a lot of them, just like I am. So that'll
Wow,
definitely
you're really cocky, aren't you there, Trev? Getting a little tooting
just,
your own
I'm
horn
just,
there.
I'm just an observer. I think that I could actually go 0-2 my first 2 weeks, but I feel like after that my schedule kind of lightens up. It's still a very tough schedule. I believe I have one of the tougher schedules in the league, especially considering I have to play. My division has to play what I find the toughest division in the league, with the division being Joel, Michael, and Cheeseboy, who all have very solidly drafted teams, especially Cheeseboy, who has basically an OU team with some lower tier walls and Scolipede added on.
Yeah, it's definitely a very well built team with a lot of good options to choose from.
And then like one thing I am scared of is Hazard, because I don't want Blastoise to be pressured every week to be there as my spinner. And Braviary, while I did mention before it does get defog, I don't know if I really want to be bringing Braviary versus a lot of those teams that do get hazards, as they are fast. Most of these teams are faster than my team already, and Braviary's Space 80 speed, as well as its weakness to rocks itself, is very not very good. So hazards will definitely be tough to overcome. So maybe you can expect a move in free agency to get maybe a spinner or something.
Alright, cool. So, you, Trev, you finished second last year. You lost in the finals to Danza. Do you think that this team, and as a player yourself, do you think you have the chance at running at the title this year?
I do believe I have a chance. I think this team is missing a certain piece or two to win it all. Even without those pieces, I do think I can make the finals again, just because my team is very threatening, and I know the other coaches in the league know it. And I know I do have a pretty big target on my back, because even though I didn't win the championship, I'm the only remaining coach from the championship last year, as Danza did leave as a coach to be an analyst. So
You are also the only coach who has played in a championship final that is still playing this year.
Yeah, that is that as well. So I know there is a target on my back. I definitely know Jolt in week 1 wants to get revenge for his very close playoff loss last season. I know Togue wants to get revenge for his regular season loss from last season. So, like I said again, first 2 weeks would be tough. I do think I can definitely make the playoffs because after that my schedule gets lightened up. And if I can win my first 2 weeks, I think I'm a shoo-in for playoffs. If I don't win my first 2 weeks, it will be a bit difficult, but I do think I can still make it. And if I do get into the playoffs, I think I would be most likely facing Togue, I believe, maybe the wild card, depending on where I finish. But Togue would be a very difficult team to beat, even if I beat him week 2, because his team could change, my team could change. But I think I feel that if I make it to the championship, I will win. It's just a matter of if I can make it to the championship and if I can acquire the pieces I need to make that championship run.
All right, cool. So that has been our interview with Trevenant Forrest of the Atlanta Braviarys. It has been your boy, Fog, from the Fog Run channel. I'll see you guys later, and have a nice day.
Peace.